Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. You know we love to bring you the biggest stories in business, and today we're going all the way to India.
That's right. We're going to be diving into one of the most ambitious moves we've seen in a while.
I mean, we are talking billions of dollars.
Yeah, 20 billion to be exact.
All right, so let's break this down. We are talking about the Aditya Birla Group. What can you tell us about them?
So the Aditya Birla Group is huge GE. It's what's called a conglomerate.
Okay, so in plain English.
Basically, they're involved in tons of different businesses, like everything from cement and metals.
Wow, so like the really heavy industries.
Yeah, but also fashion, financial services, you name it.
Okay, so kind of all over the place. So who's the mastermind behind all this?
The chairman is Kumar Mangalam Birla, and he's got this interesting philosophy. He believes that scale is everything.
Okay, now I gotta ask, what does that even mean?
Well, he basically thinks that unless you've got some kind of super unique product, something with massive profit margins.
Gotcha, so you can't just be a small player anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be a major force to even survive these days.
So this $20 billion investment, that's all about getting that scale.
It's a big part of it. Their goal is to be number one or number two in every business they're in.
Hold on. Every single one. Are they serious?
Oh, they're dead serious. And they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Okay, so where exactly is all this money going? Give me an example.
Well, take cement, for example. Right now, their cement production is about 100 million tons per year.
100 million? That's already a crazy amount.
Oh, and get this. They're planning to quadruple that in the next 10 years.
Wait, are you serious? 4 times that much?
You heard that right. It's a mind-boggling amount of cement, but it really shows you how committed they are to this idea of scale.
I mean, that is a huge bet on the future. Reminds me a bit of when they bought Novelis back in 2007.
Yeah. Hindalco, their metals company, paid $6 billion for it. It was a massive gamble at the time.
Totally. Remember, everyone was freaking out. I bet even Birla himself was a bit nervous about that one.
Yeah. Well, he said that any professional CEO would have gotten fired for making that call.
Yeah, the stock tanked and everything.
It definitely took a hit. Investors were very skeptical, and to be honest, understandably so.
So did it pay off in the end?
It actually turned out to be a great move for them in the long run. It really shows you their willingness to take these calculated risks and then stick with it.
I guess that's how you win big. Sometimes you got to go big.
Exactly. And they've got the track record to prove it.
So I got to ask, what's the connection between this new investment and some of their past moves like the Novelis deal?
I think it goes back to a deep understanding of how India is growing and changing.
It's like they're anticipating the future.
Exactly. And this actually goes way back to Birla's great-grandfather, G.D. Birla.
Wow, so like way back to the beginning of the group.
Yeah, he was this incredible entrepreneur, founded companies like Grasim, a huge textile company, and really helped build India's metals industry.
Oh, wow. So this was right after India became independent.
Yeah, so these businesses played a huge role in India's push towards becoming self-reliant.
So even though it's a different world today, they're still kind of following that same path, right?
Exactly. It's like they're carrying on that legacy, always trying to align themselves with India's needs and ambitions.
Makes sense. But this investment, it's not all about the past, right? I mean, they're putting money into things like financial services, digital technology.
That's right. They're really thinking about the future, too.
So they're not just building more factories.
Well, that's part of it, but they're also investing in these new high-growth sectors that are going to be crucial for India's economy in the years to come.
Okay, I see. So how do they make sure they're not just, chasing the latest trends?
That's where this idea of bifocals comes in.
Bifocals, like the glasses.
That's right. Birla uses this analogy to describe their approach. They're looking at the long term, like 15, 20 years out, for industries like manufacturing.
Okay, so long-term vision for the core industries.
Right, but then they've also got to be nimble and quick on their feet for things like fashion and finance.
Got it. So the fast-moving consumer stuff.
Exactly. So bifocals, long-term for some, short-term for others.
So they're not just throwing money at every shiny new opportunity.
Not at all. They got a strategy behind it.
Okay, so we've got this picture of a company that's not afraid to take risks. They've got a clear vision, deep understanding of India, and a long-term strategy.
That's the Aditya Birla Group in a nutshell.
And this $20 billion investment, it's just the latest chapter in their story.
Right. It's a huge statement about their belief in India's future.
And this is just the beginning, folks. Stay tuned as we dive even deeper into the specifics of this investment and what it all means for Indian business. Okay, so we've established that Kumar Mangalam Birla and the Aditya Birla Group are not afraid to take risks. But this $20 billion investment, it's not just about them, right?
Oh, absolutely not. This is going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire Indian economy.
So, like, what are the real-world implications of this? What does it mean for everyday people?
Well, think of it this way. The Aditya Birla Group is a bit of a trendsetter in Indian business. So when they make a move like this, it kind of signals...
Like which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a pretty strong signal that they see India as a place for growth.
It's like a giant vote of confidence in the country's future.
That's a great way to put it. And it could inspire other companies to make similar moves.
So it's not just about one company's success, it's about raising the bar for everyone.
Absolutely. And if they succeed in becoming, a real global leader in these industries, it raises India's profile on the world stage.
So it could actually change how the world views Indian businesses.
Exactly. They're not just playing catch-up anymore. They're setting the pace. They're innovating.
That's pretty exciting. But okay, let's get back to the specifics of this investment for a second. We've talked about cement, but what other areas are they focusing on?
Well, remember those bifocals we were discussing? They're using that same approach here, targeting a whole bunch of industries.
Right, the whole long-term vision for manufacturing, short-term agility for consumer businesses thing.
You got it. So besides that massive increase in cement production, they're putting money into financial services, infrastructure, and digital technology, you name it.
Okay, now I get the long-term play for something like cement. I mean, it's like a fundamental building block for any growing economy. But what's the long-term vision for something like digital technology? I mean, that landscape changes so fast.
You're absolutely right. The digital world moves at warp speed. That's why this bifocals approach is so crucial.
So they can stay nimble and adapt quickly.
Exactly. So they can stay ahead of the curve in fast-moving sectors while also making those big long-term bets in things like manufacturing.
Okay, so they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're diversifying, but strategically.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
And to really understand how they approach this, we need to revisit that Novelty's acquisition again.
Ah, the $6 billion gamble that paid off. Big time. What can we learn from that?
Well, just imagine for a second you were outside the company looking in. Back in 2007, when they made that move, it probably seemed crazy.
Totally. The stock dropped, investors were panicking.
And Birla himself has said that any other CEO would have likely been fired for making that call.
So what made him stick with it? Why didn't he just back down?
He had a vision and the courage to see it through. Even when things got tough, he believed in the long-term potential.
It's not enough just to have a vision. You got to have the guts to stick to it, right?
Absolutely. And that's what makes the Aditya Birla Group so fascinating. They're not afraid to make those big, bold moves, and their track record suggests they know what they're doing.
So this $20 billion investment, it's not just about money. It's about a company that's really willing to go all in on the future, even when it's uncertain.
It's about leadership, having that vision and the determination to see it through. But the question is, will this inspire other Indian companies? Will we see a wave of similar bold moves?
Now that's what I want to know. And what does it all mean for India's economy in the long run? How does this position them on the world stage?
Now, those are some really big questions, and we're going to get into all that right after this.
All right, so we're back and ready to tackle the big question. What does this $20 billion investment tell us about the future of Indian business?
It's a huge GE statement, that's for sure. It's like they're saying, we believe in India. They see it as this land of opportunity, ready to grow and compete on a global scale.
But let's be real for a second. $20 billion is a massive risk. What if it doesn't work out?
That's the big question, right? But don't forget, we're talking about the Aditya Birla Group. They've got a pretty impressive track record.
Yeah, like that whole Novelties thing. They took a gamble and it paid off.
Exactly. And this isn't some reckless move. They've got this long-term vision. They're aligning themselves with these key sectors of the Indian economy, and they're using that bifocals approach to make sure they're staying flexible.
So you're saying they're not just blindly throwing darts at a board?
Not at all. But here's the thing. This could be bigger than just one company. What if this starts a trend?
Oh, interesting. Like, could we see other Indian companies making these massive investments?
It's definitely possible. If the Aditya Birla Group is successful, it could embolden other companies to think bigger, to take more risks.
So we could be witnessing the start of a whole new era for Indian business.
It's certainly possible. And if that happens, it could have a huge impact on the global economy. India is already a rising power, and this kind of investment could really put them on the fast track.
So for everyone listening out there, This isn't just some boring business news. This is about a company that's betting big on the future. And it could change the game for everyone.
It's a reminder that taking risks can lead to big rewards.
It's about having that vision and the courage to stick with it, even when things get tough.
Who knows, maybe it'll inspire some of you to take your own leap of faith.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But we want to leave you with one final thought. What kind of future do you want to create?
And are you willing to take the risks necessary to make it happen?
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.